Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to share with you how you can grow your blog even if you have 0 views and 0 followers at the moment, because I think a lot of people assume that you need to be, super popular on social media, or you need to already have a big following in order to grow a blog, and that is so far from the truth. So I'm going to share with you exactly what I would do if I were starting from scratch today. If you have no idea how to start or how to kind of get your blogging business up and running and how to get it to the next level where it's actually a profitable business, then I will link down below my 12-month blog plan, which is completely free for you to use. It's been downloaded by thousands of people who really love it. So yeah, if you think that would be helpful, it will be linked down below. But let's get into step-by-step how to grow your blog even if you have no following whatsoever. You don't need to use Instagram for this, you don't need to use Facebook, you don't need to use TikTok or anything else, Instagram Reels, whatever it may be, in order to grow a blog. And I think a lot of people assume that blogging is that, and that not a lot of people read blogs anymore, which is so not true. There's so much potential out there for blogs, and they can be so profitable as well. This is what I do. I'm a full-time blogger at the moment. So I highly recommend people start a blog on the side of social media, even if you want to do social media, because a blog is much steadier. It's a much more reliable and consistent stream of income than, say, Instagram. And it's also a platform that you own, whereas Instagram, you obviously don't own it, and algorithms change all the time, which can be so frustrating. So yeah, a blog is definitely a good idea if that's something that you're passionate about. Okay, so if I were starting from scratch, the first thing that I would do is to really get to know my audience and their pain points, and really kind of dive deep down into what they're struggling with, what they need help with. And I have shared this before, but it's such a powerful thing to do, and that is to go and do your research on them. For example, if your content is aimed at moms, you can go into mom Facebook groups, and you don't need to post on there. You can just go into the search function of that Facebook group and search for things like struggle, problem, I don't know how to, I'm not sure how to, things like that, and then see what results pop up and find out what they're actually struggling with. And this will give you a really good idea of what you can include in your blog and what you can write on, and that's going to be specific things that they actually need help with, because that's the main purpose of a blog, is to have valuable content for people, to have good resources for them, just to kind of provide value to them at the end of the day. And the second thing that I want you to know is that honestly, niche is a bit outdated. So many people say you need to have such a specific niche in order to grow, but the truth is there's a lot of people out there, myself included, who don't really have a super specific niche, but they're still quite successful online. They still make a profit, they can still do this full time. So you don't need to have a specific niche, but I would say try to focus on a specific type of person that you're helping, because that will help you out. It will help you kind of create a business plan and the content plan for your blog as well. But yes, you can still grow a successful blog even if you don't put yourself in a box. The third thing that I would do, or actually I wouldn't focus on promoting my content so much on things like Instagram stories or my Facebook feed or anything like that. Not that there's anything wrong with doing that, you can obviously still do that, but I feel like it's not as effective and it can be a waste of your time. If you're spending a lot of time doing that, like creating fancy graphics for Instagram stories and Facebook, then that is going to take up a lot of your time that you could be using doing something more productive. And the thing is, posting on your Instagram stories, for example, will not get you a lot of views to that blog post. Like, yes, there will be a few people interested and they will click through, which is fine, but it won't be like a steady super increase in your traffic on your blog. And that takes me to my next point, because the real traffic growth on your blog will come from things like Google. Mainly Google, I would say, especially these days, because Google is much more reliable than Instagram, and it also will give you a much higher volume of traffic. So what I would do is, if I were starting from scratch, and it's actually what I do these days anyway, is I would focus on writing content that can rank for Google. And this is really key for consistent growth year after year. And you might feel like you post a blog post now and maybe it's not getting a lot of traffic, but the thing about Google and blogging is that that blog post can actually get traffic years down the line or months down the line. And think about this: if you have a portfolio of 100 blog posts and suddenly a lot of them start ranking in Google, that will be a really massive increase in your traffic. And that is what has happened to my blog as well. I also have a separate video that I recently did on how to rank your blog posts in Google. So if you need help with that, I will link that down below. The next thing I would do is I would create pins for Pinterest for every single blog post that I do. And I mean, you can create 3, 5, 10 pins, 10 different pins for that same blog post, and that will be completely fine, and it will give your blog post more, it will get it more traffic. And the same with Google. Even if you don't see results right away from your pins, keep doing that and keep pinning consistently, because even pins on Pinterest can get picked up months or years down the line. So that can give you a massive increase in your traffic too. And another thing you can do here is to actually create updated pins for blog posts that have done well for you in the past, or just older blog posts that you kind of want to revive. You can still do that and incorporate that into your Pinterest strategy. The sixth thing I think that I would do is to start an email list from the very beginning. Starting an email list has honestly been one of the best things I've done for my blog. It has grown my business, and it's one of the main things I use to make money in my blogging business as well. So starting an email list is so important because, for example, if you have, say, an Instagram following of 1,000 followers, you actually don't own that list of people, if you know what I mean. Like, your Instagram could get hacked, you could lose access to it. There's so many things that could happen to an Instagram account, and you just won't have those followers back. But if you have an email list of 1,000 subscribers, those are people you actually have access to, because you have their email address, and you can create a backup of those email addresses and have it just in case something happens to your email service provider, for example. So it's much more reliable, and it has actually higher engagement rates than an Instagram following. So an email list can be so powerful, especially when it comes to monetizing a blog. And also with an email list, say you are sending weekly email newsletters, and I know this seems so daunting for a lot of people, but it's actually not that hard. You can just use templates and put in your new blog posts that you've written, maybe some new valuable content that you have on your blog, and share that with your email subscribers. It doesn't have to be something brand new for your email list. And sharing those new pieces of content will actually get traffic back to your blog from that email list whenever you send out a newsletter. So that will be a really good way for you to grow your traffic. And this is something that I actually did in those first few months and has really boosted my traffic as well. The next thing I would do is I would create a schedule and try to post as consistently as I can. Honestly, on a blog, it doesn't really matter if you post on a Monday or a Friday, or if you post every single Monday or every 2 weeks. It doesn't really matter, as long as you are consistent and you post fresh content as frequently as you can. Obviously, the more the better, because the more pieces of content you have out there, you have a higher chance of ranking in Google, of getting more traffic to each blog post. So obviously your blog will grow the more effort you put into it. And then the last thing I would do is I would actually go back and update some old blog posts. If you've just started your blog, you might not have content to do this, but even if you have a blog post that's a few months old, you can go back and update older blog posts and try to include more valuable info, try to include things that can help you rank in Google search, which I have mentioned in the video that's specifically for ranking in Google. You can add new fresh images, pin images, can just make it more valuable, and you can actually turn that old blog post into a blog post that can rank in Google search. So this is an option for you. You can always go back to update old posts. And I actually didn't know this for so long in my journey. I would constantly focus on creating new content, but actually updating your old content is just as powerful. Yeah, so I guess those are the main things I would do to grow my blog, even if I had no following on social media. And honestly, blogging doesn't have to be that hard. It's just about creating valuable content on topics that people, need help with. So I do hope you have found this helpful, and I hope you're having a good day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.